Alright guys, well, this is Andre again. Want to shoot this video on the boat project that my boat that I've been doing this project, like it's gonna be almost 3 years now. Um, it's a 5.9 Cummins 12 valve with a P pump on it. Well, definitely yes, and a 727. I'm gonna answer two questions uh, for two different people on my Facebook. They asked me, and one of them is for Scott. Scott asked me any ideas on, because he's trying to swap a Cummins on a speedboat. I think it's a Century. It's got a channel. His channel is I forgot right now. Built Right One. Built Right One. I think that's the name of his channel. It seems pretty cool, and he asked me something about running a Cummins 12 valve with a 460 in the back. That's not a problem. It could be done. I don't think the 460, Scott, honestly, I don't think it's gonna live long, but I think it will live if you do one thing. Because this engine, they got a lot of torque, and you got to control that torque in order to let the transmission leave. The only way you got to be able to, unless you got a BE 12 valve, if you got a P pump 12 valve, if you got a BE, you can still do it. They also got an AFC housing and diaphragm. But if you got a P pump with a 12 valve, there's many ways that you can get online. There's some boost controllers, and you can control your AFC housing travel depending on your boost control. What that will do is, depending on your boost coming in, you'll start fueling. See, on this case, scenario, when I get on that throttle, anytime I get on it, I'm already 50% of throttle before my AFC housing start working. So let's just put it on your situation. You might be 10 or 15% throttle, only that, before you start, fueling full power. The reason for that is torque. You want that power band to come in a little bit easier, a little bit slower, or delay it a little bit in order to let your transmission leave. That is something that has been done all the time. People do that all the time in race cars and stuff like that, to let the transmission leave and stop so you don't brake, so your full power cannot come in at one time. And yeah, this is the setup right here. So that's the answer for Scott on the 460 behind a Cummins. You have to control your torque or you're gonna break it. And the other answer is for someone on my Facebook page, which is not my Facebook page. I just went over there and put something on. I think it's Cummins power boat or something like that. Anyway, he said, "What's your theory on running a heavy-duty transmission on a boat?" So I believe he means how do I think it's gonna work? Well, I honestly don't know how it's gonna work. I'm being honest. I do not know how it's gonna work. I've seen some other people doing it, and they got race boats, and they run fast, and they do it, and they still go automatic. Like Merlin Johnson, I don't know if you've seen his speedboat. It goes pretty fast. He was running a 727 before, and now he's running, I think, a 47 RE. So he's overdriving the propeller for some reason. Maybe he cannot fit a bigger propeller on the back, or maybe he just wanted to overdrive it that way. Anyway, it is being done. People use automatic transmission on boats, which you already know that the new generation engines, even outboard like Mercury, stuff like that, they use 2 gears transmissions. I mean, they got not only 1 gear like they used to, they get 2 gears transmission. See, on my head doesn't fit that you would just get an engine and load it from 0 to the high end on 1 gear. I mean, you definitely can have a better power band if you just changing gears. I'm not talking about having 10 gears on the boat, maybe 2 would be better, because that's most of the time what boats doesn't perform the way you want. You can either go like let's race or let's pull. You can only do both of them at the same time without sacrificing power or life on your engine. So the idea of me going with a transmission is that I do not want to sacrifice so much out of my engine. So I don't want to be, just for saying, 30 mile an hour and having, or 35 or 40 or whatever, 30 mile an hour and having to have my engine at 25, 3,000 RPM, overturning the engine, or maybe overloading the engine if the propeller is too big, because I wanted to run at a higher speed. So that is one reason I don't believe in loading your engine from 0 to, let's just say, 30 mile an hour on a boat, and overturning the engine for that matter, because you can only fit one gear on it, because you can only fit one propeller that will do both things. So the one way will be a variable pitch propeller, which they're only, I don't think they do it for race boats or whatever I'm about to show you now. So this is where the idea came from. I was scrolling one time on Facebook before I start cutting my boat with a chainsaw, and I found an Arneson drive, surface drive. I don't know if you know what this is. It's a surface drive. This one it was built back in the 80s. I think this is an 89 maybe. Don't remember right now, but I think it's back in the 80s. And a propeller. So I made some numbers, and I came out to find me a propeller between 25 to 30 inches of pitch. And so I didn't want it to be on the 25 side. So I'd rather be on the higher side, because I still got gears on my transmission. So let me just go with the 30 inches. And I bought this one on eBay and picked it up on eBay. It was pretty cheap comparing for what they really normally run for. They're like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, whatever the seller they want to ask for. And I picked it up less than $2,000. So that came out good. I have to build the shaft on that on this drive, because this drive was a taper shaft and this is a spline propeller. So instead of just kind of probably doing bushings and stuff like that, I went ahead and just built the shaft here in the shop. And so the whole shaft is built out of a bolt shaft, 2-inch bolt shaft. We did the whole thing here in the shop, and that's going to be the backing plate on the transom, holding the trim cylinder, the steering cylinder, and this is the inner plate, which is going to squeeze the transom here. The transom is not going to be that this big. The transom on that boat is a 4-inch transom, so it's even bigger than this whole thing together. So this plate, when the drive is inside the transom, this plate sits all the way right here to the end. So all of that is transom in between them, and that's a drive shaft. So that's it. I'm gonna be running a NEMA 2000 communication system or interface, or whatever you want to call it. That's the only wire that is gonna come out of this engine, besides ignition, power, and ground, and starter. Sorry. So it's gonna be this plug-in, and the rest is just gonna be NEMA, one wire, and these 4 wires right here. That's the only thing coming in and out of the engine. Well, battery cables, stuff like that. This right here is an intercooler or heat exchanger, whatever you want to call it. That over there, I made it out of that's an EGR cooler for a DD15 Detroit semi. I think this year it was 2013 maybe, DD15, or 2014, somewhere over there. The thing is, It was about $1,000 just to get the Cummins heat exchanger, the factory Cummins heat exchanger. And I bought this one on eBay used for $150. I haven't found another one for $150 right now. I would have bought it. They already went up. I don't know, maybe some EPA stuff like that, or people start using them again. And this is a BorgWarner S366, not billet or nothing. It's just a stock turbo. I run this turbo on my truck. A friend of mine run it too, so I just had it sitting here in the shop, and I said, well, let me just use the 366. So it's a BorgWarner 66 millimeter 1.0 AR exhaust housing, and I'm not gonna use wet manifold, exhaust manifold. It's gonna be dry, and also the turbo. That's why it's got a shield on it, heat shield on it, and so as the manifold. I still gotta wrap some more on it, and that's it. There you go, guys. 1.5 inch water pump, raw water pump, and that's it. Just a regular. I have no cam on it yet. I was gonna put a cam on it, 188 to 20. I have not put a cam on it. I really want to try what the boat is gonna do. This is it's a 30-foot boat. It's a center console. It's really light right now. It's not heavy anymore. Because I took all the wood, whatever in there, and now it's just foam, and stringers and everything is foam. The flooring is foam also, and epoxy resin from fiberglass coating down in Florida. But it's epoxy resin, and we got, guys, a few 454 going on a friend's boat over there. But yeah, that's it. Arneson Drive, 727, 5.9 Cummins diesel P-pump. So that is going to be the setup on that boat. It's a 1989 Aquasport. I think they called it a 28.1, 281. So I think it was a 28.1 feet boat. Now it's a 30 foot because I put a extension on the back and a platform, so it's kind of longer. But that's it. Propeller is 17 5/8. I almost forget to say that. It's a 17 5/8 diameter by 30.5 inches pitch. You can see the size of the propeller. This is the nut right here. Build the nut right here on one of the machines, and this splash cover, whatever they call it, just put the family names on it, and that's it. I hope you like it. You guys like it, and you got any questions, let me know. I hope I answered the question for Scott on his build. I know he's gonna do it right. And it's gonna work, and it's gonna be fast too. The reason I don't think he's gonna break it that fast is because his boat is really light, so it's not gonna take a lot of power to get it on plane. That means the engine is gonna be underloaded already by the time he's on plane, so he don't have to get really hard on the throttle, and maybe his transmission will lift. Remember, you gotta lock the converter. Converter gotta be locked, welded, do something over there. You cannot have a converter on yours. If you would have one converter, it may live longer, but you already got a converter on the water, which is your propeller. So you don't want two torque converters on the same situation. Well, there you go. You got a good night. You have a good night.